Hey guys, Melissa here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you, give you a little bit of background about my diagnosis story and, work our way through to my treatment plan. So last year, 2020, was a doozy of a year. I actually was feeling really tired and stressed out. I wasn't feeling like my cheery usual self, and I think I was just working myself too hard, and I wasn't doing something I really love to do. I wasn't that thoughtful at the time, but I just knew I wasn't happy. So in August, I left my 9 to 5. I made the decision to do that. It was a crazy decision for me and my family, but my husband luckily was super supportive. And I started my journey towards finding myself, whatever that meant for me. And for me, it was a lot of journaling and, just self-discovery, just trying to figure out what my purpose was. That was on my mind a whole lot. Also during this time, I was paying more attention to my physical being, right? So I was working out a little bit more, starting to move my body a bit more, and just being more considerate and thoughtful of, my physical feeling. So I was showering one day and I found a lump under my armpit, under my left armpit. And, cancer does run in my family, so I was very much freaked out by it and I took it really seriously and called my doctor. So I was able to get an appointment, I think within a couple of days. And when she was doing the exam, I could kind of tell that she was worried about it. And now I know that because the lump was so hard, that's kind of a sign that we don't really like this, we should get it checked out. At the time, I didn't really know why she was so concerned, but she was concerned and she sent me for a mammogram. So I was able to get a mammogram and I found out that I have dense breasts, which I didn't know before. And that just means, and that's actually quite normal, it just means that, using a mammogram is not going to be able to like a lot of tissue. A lot of younger women have dense breasts as well, and it's just very hard to tell with a mammogram, what's going on in here. So they sent me for an ultrasound and a biopsy, and I think they did the ultrasound and biopsy more so I wouldn't have to make 2 separate appointments. So depending on what the ultrasound would show, I would already be there and could have the biopsy right away. So the ultrasound did show something that they were worried about, showed a mass, and they biopsied it at that same appointment. The biopsy itself was not pleasant one bit. I had to hold my arm up in weird positions. I had to turn, and all while they're kind of like sticking a needle through your skin, through potential tissue into this mass. And my mass specifically was like rock hard. It actually broke the first needle that they were trying to use during the biopsy. So not fun. It wasn't super painful. It was just really unnerving because I didn't know what was happening. The person who was doing the procedure seemed a little bit shaken by it as well, which didn't make me feel very comfortable. So that night when I went home, I was definitely more scared than when I went to go get the ultrasound. So all that was left was for me to wait for the results. And I got a call from my doctor on December 22nd to come in and see her on the 23rd. Yes, the 23rd, as in 2 days before Christmas. So I already knew something was not great, but still keeping my general positive, optimistic attitude that things are going to be okay. So I went to my doctor's office by myself. I can't remember what was happening, but I think Steve had a meeting or something like that. I was like, I can go, that's no problem. And she told me the dreaded words, "You have cancer." And I don't remember much before she said it, and I don't remember a whole lot after she said it, but I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. Like that's literally what the first thing was in my head. And let me explain. Cancer runs in my family. My dad, my uncle, my sister, my grandfather all had cancer, and they all died from cancer. So we don't really have a great survival rate in my family. So the word cancer means, or at least meant, death to me. So, you know, I kind of freaked out when I first found out about it, and I cried. I cried a lot, guys. I cried a lot. If I think back to that appointment with my OB, she asked me, you know, did I want to call my husband and tell him, or did I want her to do it? And to be honest, guys, like, I let her do it. I allowed her to call my husband and break the news to him, because I could not in that moment figure out how I was supposed to do that. Like, to shatter his world is what it felt like, because I felt like mine had just been shattered. And I didn't want to be the one who was going to do that to him. You know, even though he knew that, you know, there was a suspicion, it's very different when it's definite. So, yeah, I let her do it, and you know, I am forever thankful for her for offering to do that. I don't know how many physicians would do that, but who was going to tell my mother? Lord have mercy. When I think back to that time, I just remember, yes, I was shocked and scared for myself, but I immediately thought of my family, you know, my mom, my husband, my kids, thinking, what were they going to do without me, you know, because I just knew that I wasn't going to survive. And, you know, I just couldn't bear to tell my mother. She had already lost a husband and a daughter to cancer, and I got to tell her that I have it too. Another daughter has cancer. Oh my gosh. So what I decided to do was not go to her until I had more information. So I wanted to do some more tests and get a treatment plan, because it's one thing to tell someone, okay, something is wrong, but I wanted to be able to say, hey, like, I have a solution, or at least here's the plan. We just need to stick to the plan and we'll be good. So that's kind of what I decided to do. You know, I'll share more about how I went through telling other family members, maybe in another video, but telling my mom was so hard. And you know, she actually took it better than I thought she would. At least that's what I think to this day. She'll have to tell me otherwise if that's the case, but yeah, she's super strong. And yeah, I'm kind of glad we're over that hump and to a place where we can just, you know, stick to the plan. And okay, so let's get back to how we get to said treatment plan. So after the ultrasound and biopsy, I was scheduled to have an MRI, and that will show you more throughout your body what's happening. You know, obviously you have a lump here, so this particular tumor actually has cancer, but you want to know if the cancer has spread to any areas of your body, and that's what the MRI tells you. So I had my MRI, and luckily for me, there was nothing that showed that anything had spread to any other areas. I think there was like some weird lung nodule stuff happening, but I think they said that's kind of common in many people who don't have cancer at all as well. So there's something that they would just watch over time, but that's just something that happens, like if you've had a cold or a flu or something like that, you've been sick, you can see some lung nodules, so not to worry right now. Okay, so after that, I was ready to sit down with my oncologist and talk about a treatment plan. And he did give me a treatment plan, but I always knew, because I'm on a small island, I always knew that I wanted to go and get a second opinion. So I took all that information, all my x-rays, all my scans, my recommended treatment plan, and I flew to MD Anderson. But I had to tell my mom first, obviously, for her to come here and take care of the kids and help Steve out and just kind of keep the things going at home, and gave me permission to get on a plane during COVID, by the way, to go and get my second opinion. So I spent a week in Texas at MD Anderson, kind of redoing some of the tests, you know, the mammogram, ultrasound. They wanted to do their own scans, and that does happen a lot, even though I brought a lot of the information. They wanted to do their own tests, and you know, luckily for me, their treatment plan was very close to what the doctor on island, or the oncologist on island, was recommending. So that felt good. You know, it would have been, I don't know what I would have done if they were like, we have this completely different thing that we want you to. The other thing I wanted to mention is the genetics test. So remember how I said cancer runs in my family? My oncologist on island wanted me to do the BRCA test just to make sure, you know, just to have an idea of whether I had that genetic mutation. So I didn't get the results until I got back from MD Anderson, and that definitely played into my treatment plan as well. But I just wanted to put that out there that, getting that genetic test, especially if cancer runs in your family, is very, very important. Okay, so let's talk about my actual diagnosis. So I'm stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, and I had a grade 3 tumor, and my tumor itself is ER/PR positive, HER2 negative. But my ER and PR are so low, that's the estrogen and progesterone, they're so low that they're kind of treating me as though I'm triple negative. So before we get onto the treatment plan, one thing to note is that I did get my BRCA genetics test back, and I tested positive. So I am positive for the BRCA1 mutation. There's also a BRCA2 mutation, and what that means for me is that I'm at higher risk for breast and ovarian cancer, and I believe pancreatic cancer as well, but definitely breast and ovarian cancer. So that definitely fed into, my treatment plan and the different options that were available to me and recommendations that the oncologists and the breast surgeons felt comfortable going over with me. Okay, so on to the treatment plan. So the first thing was I was given a choice between whether I wanted to do chemo or surgery first. I know it seems weird to give me, the non-doctor, a choice of what I want to do first, but there were quite a few factors that went into it, and I'll probably do a YouTube video about why I chose one over the other. But for this video, just know that I chose chemo first over surgery first. Okay, so for chemo, my regimen is the ACT, and that's the adriamycin, cyclophosphamide, and Taxol. So let's talk about the AC part first. So that is the drug that they call the red devil. It is red in color, and that's pretty much why, and it also just sucks. So I think that's why they call it the red devil. It causes the most kind of like physical problems in terms of symptoms and that kind of stuff. But the AC, I had to do that every 2 weeks for 8 weeks. So I was doing 4 rounds of that. And then the Taxol, which is paclitaxel is the name of that I had a choice, another choice, lucky me. I either could do 4 dose stints, or it's just like a heavier dose, and I could do that every 2 weeks, or I could do 12 weekly doses. And I chose the 12 because I think they used to do the 4 dose stints kind of back in the day, and they did some studies and realized that people, or women, actually did better with the 12 weekly doses. There were lesser amounts, and they just seemed to do better with side effects and symptoms and allergic reactions. There was less of that. So I signed up for the 12, even though it was 12 weeks maybe versus 8 weeks. So at this point in time, like today, I am finished with chemo. I've been done with it for 2 weeks. So, I'll do some more videos that hopefully will be helpful to you about what helped me during chemo and different things I thought would be good for people to know. But let's move on to what's coming up next for me. So what I have to look forward to is in August, I have a lumpectomy with sentinel node dissection, and that simply means that they're gonna make a little incision here, remove, if there's anything left of the tumor, they're gonna remove that, and they're gonna go and check to my lymph nodes to see if cancer spread to my lymph nodes. When I started this process, there was no cancer in my lymph nodes. We're hoping that stayed the same, but in any case, if it did spread to my lymph nodes, that means that I would have to do radiation. And radiation affects reconstruction. So if you're going to have to do a mastectomy and you want to do reconstruction, radiation affects your skin. It can shrink your skin, burns your skin, and you just have to balance when you do radiation and reconstruction. So that's why I'm having the lumpectomy first, so that I can have a better understanding of if radiation is going to be needed. And then my plan, if I don't need radiation, I'm praying to God that I don't need radiation, but I'll do whatever I need to do. But if I don't need radiation, then I can go ahead with my current plan, which is to have my double mastectomy with immediate reconstruction in September. And we can talk a little bit more about that as well in a later video, but that is kind of the plan right now. So we will see how things go. I know this is a pretty long video, but I wanted to get the information out there. One, I wanted you to understand a little bit of my journey and how I got here, and see how it relates to your story or a story of someone that you love. But also, just having this base level information about my diagnosis and my treatment plan will help you understand, what's relevant to you and what's not, because not all cancers, not all tumors are the same. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video or learned a lot. If you did, definitely like it. Go ahead and subscribe, because I plan to make quite a few of these just to give you a sneak peek into what life is like with chemo and surgery, and just how long the journey is. I think sometimes people think that, after chemo, you're done, you're cured. Not necessarily the case. And there's just so much that I didn't know. And I had family members who have been through cancer. I didn't even know this stuff about, just the journey and the ups and downs. So I think that, I think it's good for us to know what we're signing up for and know what other people are going through. So I hope this was helpful. And as always, I wish you a good one. Take care.